So the whole thing is really a mental game, and you just have to have a real heart to heart with yourself to keep the motivation going and enjoy everything you're doing.
Absolutely. And maybe really focusing on the why, the reason why it matters is key to keeping that conversation, that mental game focused.
Welcome to season 2 of the Living Inspired podcast. I'm Rachel Carta, registered nurse and functional nutrition counselor and life coach. Your body is built to heal. It's a powerful machine, naturally wired to survive and thrive. However, life takes its toll. We experience pain, grapple with maintaining a healthy weight, and face a mounting pile of chronic health challenges. Not to mention the mental struggles that we all feel at times. But there's hope. When we understand the roots of our health issues, we can take charge and really make a difference in our health. No matter the signs, symptoms, or diagnoses, you can influence your health story. This season, I'll show you how to take care of your body, bring it back to full strength, and use its natural healing power to overcome these challenges. Together, we'll appreciate our bodies, our most powerful tool, as you take small steps to break free from the struggles of chronic inflammation, heal your digestive health, lower anxiety, and so much more. My mission is to shed light on the aspects of our health that we can control. I want to help you understand that there's no one-size-fits-all solution. We are all unique. Everything is connected, and all things matter. Healing is possible. By adopting a healthier lifestyle that doesn't have to be difficult, we create an environment that fosters healing for our mind, body, and spirit. Grab your notebook, a cup of tea, take a walk, or listen while folding laundry. And let's dive into today's topic.
Today is one of the most exciting days we've had so far because I have with me one of the most amazing people that I have met, Karen Bruynell. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So many of us find ourselves waiting for motivation to strike before we take action, whether it's hitting the treadmill or lifting weights. But there's a remarkable individual sitting here with me today who was once in that same position until something changed. I had the pleasure of meeting Karen several years ago in a spin class. I was her teacher, and I was immediately inspired by her unwavering commitment and hard work. And I could see that from the instructor's chair as I watched her throughout that class. Little did I know that she had already accomplished an incredible feat, losing 150 pounds. And may I add, keeping it off for 5 years. Karen's infectious smile and can-do attitude radiate positivity. She isn't just a survivor, she is a thriver. She embarked on her running journey at the age of 53, a little more than 5 years ago. She ran in 72 in-person races, and these are just loose estimates. There's probably even more. 131 races. So in a little more than 5 years, she has done 72 in-person races, 52 virtual races, and probably many more. Since then, she's conquered 2 marathons, currently training for her third, 6 half marathons, 10 10Ks, 63 5Ks, 44 other distances, and countless other miles. So that's over 500 miles in races, but likely thousands in training. And she's done that in 20 states. When I read those numbers to you, Karen, what does that do? How do you feel hearing that you have run probably all the way to California in over 3,000 miles?
I'm tickled that you're talking about me, but I pinch myself to see, wow, is that really me? Because, 5 years ago before I started running and when I weighed 300 pounds, I could barely hoof a mile, never mind, run a mile. So it feels exciting.
And talk about that feeling of, can you go back with us to that first time you laced up your sneakers? Can you remember that?
Oh, absolutely. It was January of 2018, and I can tell you exactly where I was. I was at a Planet Fitness Health Club. It was my one of the first health clubs I started after I lost the weight, and I was doing the Couch to 5K app, and I was on a treadmill and doing the treadmill thing, and I'd walk and then I'd run for a minute, and then I'd walk, and then I'd run for a minute, and I'd be sweating profusely by after 5 minutes.
I can imagine. I can only imagine. This is such a testament to your unyielding dedication to your health. What I would really love, and I'm sure that many of our listeners right now want to know, how on earth did you do that? But more than just your tactics, it's, in my opinion, again, we are waiting for that motivation before we get out of bed, right? We're laying there. We know we should be doing something. We're waiting for the motivation to hit. And it doesn't, right? We're tired. Life is challenging. How do you continue to do what you need to do every single day to keep up with your journey?
I used to think it was like what I ate or what I did, or I'd be waiting to get the motivation to hit me. But over time, I learned it's a conversation in my mind. I have a whole conversation, because it used to be my mind saying, oh, all this running is not going to do you any good. Don't even bother. And then I started looking at things in different ways, and I'd be like, just one more mile, or just one more run, or even for my weight loss, I would just say, okay, let's look at this little chunk, and it would motivate me, once I mastered the chunk.
Unbelievable, just absolutely unbelievable. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, I'd love to hear, if you want to share with us, what was that first initial motivation to start your fitness journey like? Was there a specific turning point or an inspiration that sparked that first journey on that treadmill?
Originally, the motivation was my son, who challenged me to give up Diet Coke, believe it or not. And I haven't touched a Diet Coke in many, many years, because he wrote a paper at school. He kept saying, don't drink it, don't drink it. And he finally wrote a paper in school and asked me to stop drinking it. And that actually was the first step to my overall health journey. And then once I started losing the weight, with these little motivational goals, which is a story for another time, I realized that I needed to do something not only to take off the weight, but to keep off the weight. And to keep off the weight, I decided, all right, let me just start at Planet Fitness. It seems like it's a place that I will not be afraid of to walk into it. And so I felt like running, it was something that you could do inside or outside, and it could cost as little or as much money as you wanted it to cost you. And so I started the treadmill, and I didn't even have any thoughts of running a race when I first started running. I just was running the Couch to 5K. I was almost done with the Couch to 5K when my daughter said to me, Mom, there's a 5K race in Cambridge this weekend. And at this point now, it's February of 2018. It was for Super Bowl Sunday. And she gave me probably 5 days notice. Do you want to sign up and do it with me? And she was actually training for the Boston Marathon that week. That year. So I said, okay, I'll do it. And I had never even run outside before. And so the day before the race, what I did is it was 7 degrees out. And I went outside and ran outside to make sure that the next day, which was a little bit warmer for my first race, that I could run outside. And I was able to run outside. And the rest is history. I did that first race and the bug bit me.
That's amazing. And even though you're very humbly saying the rest is history, we know that's not how it actually goes, right? Because every day, like you said, There's a conversation going on in your head. And that leads us perfectly to my next question, because I'd love to know, were there moments when you faced that self-doubt, or were there setbacks? I know you've had injuries. I know there have been things that have set you back. How did you overcome those challenges and stay committed to your goals?
So yeah, there were definitely setbacks, but I'm the person that you cannot you can't tell me I can't do it. Like I'm the person that watches the video and says, the DIY video and says I can do that, not, oh, that's cool. It's like, oh, I could do that. There has been self-doubt, and especially when, even on the first race, I was huffing and puffing, and again, it was an inner conversation saying, you can do this, you can do this, you can run to the next light pole, you can run to the next stoplight, you can run to the next stop sign. And so again, it was little chunks, little conversations with myself. I had no idea what I was doing when I was running, and I had no idea I was supposed to warm up or cool down. And I've had a number of injuries, and even though I had the injuries, I wasn't like, I'm gonna stop running because I'm getting injured. I've torn my hamstrings. I've had an avulsion where my hamstring came partially attached from my sits bone. I've had Achilles tendinosis, which made me lose out on running the Boston Marathon live. I've had so many different back injuries, and I just do what it takes to keep going. And if I can't run, I'll get out there and do the mileage walking. And finally, I kind of learned when I switched my health club from one club to another club where there are actually trainers and people like that were there like you, where I did a variety of exercises. And it was just the when I get into running or get into doing a class, it's the motivation of the feeling I get when I finish it. Like nobody gets up and says, hey, I'm excited to run 20 miles today. But when I finish running that 20 miles, I'm like, yes, and it's like, I'm going to get an ice cream cone today. It's Saturday. I'm going to have an ice cream cone as a little bit of a treat, or I'm going to go buy myself a new pair of pants or new shoes or new sneakers, and, or just write in my journal that, I've cleared, another 20 miles, or I've finished this race. And, all of these things are motivational. And Rachel, just you saying at the beginning of this podcast that I've done this much running, like, I'm like, oh, I got to do more to make that number go up. Like, it's little things to challenge myself that I enjoy. And it's, it's internal motivation that sometimes doesn't come when I start whatever activity, but comes at the end of the activity too.
Absolutely. And I didn't mention that Karen also does so many other types of fitness classes, and it's really become a part of her life every day. And I think that's another thing. Sometimes what's really amazing, and we're going to have a whole separate podcast about this concept. What we have to do is establish the habit. And science now says it takes 66 days to create a habit. So that motivation isn't the thing that's going to get you out of bed. It's the establishment of a habit, right? And now that habit is part of your life, I would hazard to guess that it's, and I'm putting quotes around this, easier to get up to do the thing you need to do, because now it's become the habit. The discipline to do it is easier in some ways because it's a habit. It's really that first initial hump that you had to get over in order to create this as part of your life.
It started easy, trying to run, but absolutely creating habits was a big part of my health journey, like making little chunks, and saying, okay, I can persevere with this chunk of like food or mileage, or get through a strength training class where everything feels heavy. And it's just like the little chunk. Okay, I can do this little next 5 minutes. So it was definitely the habit that, setting the habits and just one habit at a time. I didn't overwhelm myself with habits. And once that was established, I go on to the next habit.
You know, Karen, I love you've said that now twice, talking about the chunks. And I absolutely love that because I think that so many people look at, so for example, a 5K. Okay, I'm going to sign up for a 5K. And all they focus on is that 3.1 miles. And if you've never run, 3.1 miles sounds like 5,000, right? And so what you did was you said, I'm going to run to the next light pole. And that's what's so different. You said, I'm going to get up today and focus on this one vegetable or this one distance. Those small chunks are why you were able to magnify that into what you've accomplished in 5 short years. Okay, so this is a huge concept. Thank you for sharing that, because I think if we all can take the idea of the chunk, right, the one small next step. I often tell people, if you want to start a yoga practice in the morning, just unroll your mat before you go to bed so that you have to trip over it on the way to the bathroom. Okay, that's that first chunk, and you've gotten that down. Now, do you have any specific strategies or techniques that helped you to stay consistent with your exercise habit and the routine? Specific strategies? I know you use like your Apple Watch and different things like that.
Oh my goodness. So somebody, like I was wearing my Apple Watch and somebody says, you know, you can close the rings on your Apple Watch. I'm like, what is that? This was when I was first starting to do exercise. And she showed me how it worked. And originally I had it set for, 12 hours to stand, 30 minutes of exercise, and 1,000 move points. And this definitely motivates me to get out and do it. In fact, the 1,000 move points, if I didn't have that 1,000 move points closed by like, say, 11:30 at night, I would go out and like do a walk at like a little before midnight to close that move ring. I was like, I'm obsessed with it and I love it. And it really is a big motivation for me. But some people are motivated by the numbers on their Fitbit or whatever they use to track. But definitely the Apple Watch motivates me. But another thing is I love to create charts. And so I will look up, say, a couple of different running training programs. Right now I'm using Jeff Galloway's training program for my Chicago Marathon training. But I might use a couple of different ones, and then I'll take Excel and I'll fill it in for the number of weeks that I'm training for. And I'll write in like, I'm doing strength training on Monday and Wednesday. I'm doing heated bar on Thursday and Saturday. I might swim on Saturday. I'm running on Tuesday night and Thursday night and Sunday afternoon. And I put down the number of miles. And to me, it's very rewarding. And I color in with, the little paint barrel on Excel, as I finish a block. And so to go back after I finish training and see all those blocks colored in is really fun. And it's very rewarding as I see it getting closer and closer and closer. Sometimes it's like, oh, I have 14 miles to do this weekend. I really do have 14 miles to do this Sunday. And so my game plan is, because I have the BAA 10K this Sunday, is to run the 10K and then walk the additional 8 miles toward my house after that. And wherever I end up, somebody will pick me up.
I hope you all just really picked up on that. She's going to run a 10K and then walk home to make sure she hits that 14-mile goal. A couple things, Karen. It sounds like gamifying, which is that new buzzword that's around these days, has helped you to keep your motivation. So you might be someone, if you're listening and you really want to get started, you might look for an app that you enjoy. You might look for a stepwatch. I think that's a really inexpensive. There are a lot of inexpensive stepwatches that you can get to just maybe make a goal, but don't start with 20,000 or 50,000 steps. Start by making your goal small, 2,000 steps a day, 4,000 steps a day. And every day you can build on that, like Karen taught us. I also wanted to point out, as Karen's describing how she's put all these things into her life, Karen also works. she also has many things on her plate in her personal life. So those of you who are hearing Karen talk and thinking, well, she must have all the time in the world to do all this running. She actually makes it an intention to fit it into her life. She is a very busy person. I know her personally. We work together. I know that she is a very busy person, and she makes an intention that this is important to her. It's a priority in her life. And that is why she's able to do what she's able to do. Please don't misunderstand that she's got nothing to do but run.
I make it a priority, just like you make dinner a priority because you're hungry. I have a certain time that I go to the gym every day, or I go out and run. I plan ahead to figure out when I'm going to fit it in. So to make sure it gets done, if it's important to you, you should fit it in. And other things that are important to me, I like my family. So I fit, we work to get the running in between, family time. And it's fun for my family. Like one of the games we play is Find Karen. I'll say to my husband, because my kids are all pretty much grown and they're adults and live in their own life at this point. But I'll say to my husband, I'm going out for a run. This is how long I'm probably going to need to run. Find me in 2 or 3 hours, or however much time I'm out there running, or try to locate me in this place. And sometimes I'll be out running. Like a couple of weeks ago, I ran 12 miles and I headed toward Hull, which is 12, 13 miles from my home. And as I'm running back up a main road, I look and there's my husband parked in a car right on the side of the road. And he puts down his window and he's like, "You done?" I said, "Another half mile, meet me up the street." And, and it's kind of fun for him.
I love it. And that also leads to another question. How does adopting this healthier lifestyle and the way you're living, how does it impact other aspects of your life? Mental well-being, overall happiness, whatever you want to talk about.
So I do have to say that, so I have a rest day. Usually Fridays are my rest day. And I have to do something, because when I don't exercise, I feel it. It's kind of strange. It used to be I dreaded exercise, and now I dread not exercising, because it makes you feel so much better after you've moved. There's something with the adrenaline and everything. And even, when I indulge a little with food, which I allow myself to indulge. Sometimes it doesn't make you feel as good as you think you're going to feel after eating, say, a piece of chocolate, or having, something like a chocolate chip muffin. It's like it weighs you down. But when I've been eating healthier and out doing some like strength training or running or whatever I'm doing, it definitely helps me mentally. And I'd say probably 90% of the time I focus on the health. But it's become so natural. It's not like, oh, I have to, just have a grapefruit today. It just comes natural, and that's my natural choice.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I just want to ask you if you have any tips for any of the people listening that, let's go back to Karen in 2018 when she's just getting started. What would you say to those listeners who they really want to get started, but when they open their eyes in the morning, the idea of lacing up their sneakers and doing something like this just feels completely overwhelming? What would you say to them?
I'd say just keep doing it, because it does feel overwhelming. You will naturally try to talk yourself out of it, which I would try to do on occasion, but try to power through it. I would say if you're going to take up running, definitely look into different ways to run. What kind of running? Do you want to do running that you eventually want to qualify for Boston Marathon? Or do you want to do running? Like my running is, I just want to finish the race. That's all I want to do. And usually I say I want to finish the race. I don't want to finish last, although there's nothing wrong with finishing last. And my husband added in, don't get injured anymore. And I haven't gotten injured since I've finally adjusted to a great run routine. But I would say you have to talk yourself into it, and eventually you won't be able to do without it.
Absolutely, Karen. And, we will have another podcast about just this concept of our self-talk, because this is a huge part of my book. If you've read my book, we talk a lot about the words that are in our heads. We can talk ourselves out of anything good, and we can talk ourselves into unhealthy choices much easier than it takes to get up and do the thing that's best for us. And really, without going into details, that's a survival mechanism, and it's natural and normal. So when those thoughts come in that say, just stay in bed, or not today, or what if you get hurt? Those are natural and normal feelings and conversations that go on in all of our heads. It's the idea, can we change that self-talk into one that's motivational? You can do this just one step at a time. Lace up those sneakers, open the front door, one small step forward at a time. That's really how we go and do amazing things. Now, I just want to add in here, you did talk about how you had a lot of injuries in the beginning because you didn't have proper running training, and that, if you're going to go embark in a fitness journey, it's important to make sure that you're working with a trainer, working with someone, reading, doing your research to find out what type of exercise, what type of running, like Karen said, is best for you, consulting a professional before you get started so that you don't have those injuries, because you can have a beautiful fitness journey without injuries. Like Karen said, the minute she started to follow a training protocol, she now has not been injured since she's been doing it that correct way.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Karen, we could talk all day, but I have one last question for you. Looking back at your incredible accomplishments, what advice would you give to your younger self? Maybe you're 25 years old. What would you say to yourself in terms of your fitness journey? Your health?
Oh, I would have asked myself to start way sooner, because, I would love to have qualified for Boston Marathon or been able to run 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 continents. Like, those are all aspirations in my mind and that I'm trying to talk myself out of looking into. But if I had started maybe sooner, I may have qualified for some of those. And so I would say, don't wait. Time is so precious. Time is more valuable than money. And, and enjoy what you're doing. I would say definitely love what you're doing. Enjoy it. Remember it. Document it. Journal about it. It's fantastic.
That's such a wonderful point to end with, Karen, because running isn't for everyone, but there is something for everyone. And if running isn't for you, but you love music, put on one song and dance to it, right? If you love to walk and listen to the birds, take a walk around the block. If you can't walk or things are too hard, just raise your arms up over your head 10 times, right? There is absolutely always some way to start. Thank you so much, Karen, for being a part of our journey on the Living Inspired podcast. Thank you for being in my life. I feel more than blessed and grateful to know you, to have experienced your energy. Thank you for being here with us today.
You've been a key part of my journey. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. Thank you, Karen.
Hello, listeners. Are you feeling run down, dealing with nagging health issues, and just can't seem to find the answers you need? It's possible that inflammation could be the hidden culprit behind these issues. That's why I'm excited to share with you my new ebook, 7 Days to Kickstart Your Path to Vibrant Health. Tame inflammation and ignite your healing process. In this ebook, you'll explore the intricate relationship between inflammation and well-being, and empower yourself with practical tools for lasting change. You heard it, lasting change. We are not here to simply treat symptoms. You'll learn how to take small intentional steps each day that build up to create a powerful momentum for positive transformation. Remember, achieving vibrant health is an ongoing journey, not a one-time destination. And this ebook is designed to help you start that journey. So are you ready to ignite your healing process and finally start feeling better even sooner than you might believe? Visit rachelcartarn.com/health. That's RACHELCARTARN.com/health to download your free copy of this ebook 7 days to kickstart your path to vibrant health. Your well-being is a top priority, and this ebook is here to guide you on your path to vibrant health. Don't wait another day to start feeling better. Download your free ebook now at rachelcartarn.com/health. Here's to your ongoing vitality, resilience, and well-being. Let's kickstart this journey to vibrant health together. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Living Inspired podcast. Your presence in this space is deeply appreciated. Remember, living a healthy life, mind, body, and spirit doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of conscious choices and intentional living. Each time you listen, you are taking a step towards flooding your life with positivity, love, light, and health. If you found value in today's episode, please share it with 3 friends. I'm honored to be part of your journey. I'll see you in the next episode.